.com has been conceptualized with the vision of digitizing imports and exports.
So ये इतना आसान तो नहीं हुआ होगा यार.
आसान नहीं था, आसान अभी भी नहीं है. सबसे मजेदार चैलेंज जो है ना राशि, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द टेक्नोलॉजी, इज दैट nobody takes a lady seriously in logistics world. Initially, when I would go to the truck drivers and those truck companies, and I would say that we are trying to integrate, then they would just look at me कि ये तो मतलब is she a sales girl? They would not give me meetings even if I send my visiting. वो थोड़ी conditioning है Indian mindset की.
I want to tell everyone, she's saying it's a boring industry, but she's equally fashionable. And she's absolutely beautiful. She's fond of saris. एक रेखा वो थी, एक रेखा ये है.
I love to wear handlooms because I think it represents my country. कि maybe Australia I didn't like. American dream देखते हैं. I have to do something here. My roots are here and this is where I belong.
And that is the reason you could give a solution to our country. So you're trying to fill the market gap, and I think this is amazing.
And मुझे उनसे एक ही बात कहनी है कि believe in the Indian story. यहाँ पे रहो यार, यहाँ पे काम करो.
So Rekha, Atri, the real Deshbhakt. Hello and welcome to Rabbi Rashi Foundation. Today we are honored to shine a spotlight on Rekha Atri, co-founder and CEO of iKargos.com, a visionary log-tech company with a mission to simplify logistics for all. आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है रेखा.
Thank you for having me, Rashi. It's always lovely meeting you.
Same. Okay, to start with, Rekha, share us about your journey. You know how you founded iKargos. What has been your vision? Tell us all.
When I was growing up as an army officer's daughter, it was never in my mind that I'll go into a business, doing my own thing. कभी भी ऐसा, it never even occurred in my mind. And so, we were changing places every 2 years. I was thoroughly enjoying, extremely naughty child and having a ball, just managing to, ensure that my parents are happy with my grades. And उसके अलावा मैं बहुत ही chill करती थी life में. Academics was not so much of my focus, but street smartness बहुत ज़्यादा थी. That's because of the army upbringing, I would say. And then in 2008, I finished my MBA. I got, what do you call, placed with Deloitte. And from there, a high life started, going to the US and Australia and consulting, flights, five-star hotels, that life of a consultant. And I was totally loving it. And then also by 27, 28 years of age, भी मेरे दिमाग में कोई ख्याल नहीं था कि मुझे कोई business करना है, because I was loving my field. I thoroughly enjoyed. As an army officer's kid, we always had those big bungalows, secluded camps, dunya se dur, greenery, those things that obviously I miss now. But that time I used to feel, what is it to live in a, Bombay or Bangalore or elevators. And so consulting gave me all that I missed as a child. And 10 साल मैंने बहुत enjoy किया. I traveled so much and all of a time. And then in 2018, I got a call from one of my friends, Prashant, who's also, I met him in Deloitte. And he called me, he said, there's a problem to solve. E-commerce players जो हैं वो India आना चाहते हैं, and they don't know how to structure their supply chain. Because क्या हो रहा है कि 10 million parcels हैं, 10 million individuals को जाने हैं, और हर पार्सल के ऊपर डिफरेंट कंप्लायंस लगती है. किसी में लिपस्टिक है, किसी में चश्मे है, किसी में कपड़े हैं, किसी में किसी में खाना है, किसी में कुछ है. सो देन ही कॉल्ड मी, सेड कि यार आजा साथ में सॉल्व करते हैं, जस्ट लाइक दैट. एंड आई डिसाइडेड टू ज्वाइन हिम. एंड फिर हमने 2 साल we worked so hard to streamline this whole e-commerce supply chain that Club Factory in India became number 3. Third to only Amazon and Flipkart. तो इतना हमने उनकी जो सप्लाई चेन थी वो सॉर्ट कर दी. And those 2 years also gave me a insight into the logistics world. दैट हो क्या रहा है, ना कोई डिजिटाइजेशन है, ना कोई ऑटोमेशन है, इतनी सारी इनएफिशिएंसीज है, और एंट्री बैरियर किसी के लिए भी क्रॉस बॉर्डर अगर कुछ करना चाहता है तो सबसे ज्यादा जो डिफिकल्ट है वो लॉजिस्टिक्स ही है। एंड आई वाज थिंकिंग यार वी आर सिटिंग इन द एज ऑफ डिजिटाइजेशन, एक बटन दबाओ आप टिकट निकाल सकते हो, एक बटन दबाओ आप जूम कर सकते हो, एक बटन दबाओ आप कैब बुला सकते हो, बट अब 100 of phone calls also you do, you cannot really get your shipment from one place to another, जबकि courier में आप कर सकते हो, you just call a courier guy, he'll pick up your courier and send it. So with that vision that we should be able to use this power of technology into logistics, we started iKargos in 2020. ऐसे कोई there's no inspirational story that oh you know something happened, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, but there was, it's just a problem statement that came across.
I was just about to say that you gave a solution because there was a market gap. So you filled it up. This is wonderful. And I think that is the biggest inspiration, you know, कि अगर आप कोई market solution देते हो किसी भी चीज को. Wonderful, Rekha.
एंड आई वुड ऑल्सो से ना राशि, मैंने लॉजिस्टिक्स तो नहीं ढूंढा, लॉजिस्टिक्स ने मुझे ढूंढ लिया आके।
वैसे I would like to tell everybody कि अक्सर लॉजिस्टिक्स एक इंस्टेंट है पर दोस्त भी आपको ढूंढ लेते हैं।
हाँ बिल्कुल सही।
बेसिकली थिंग्स आपके पास आ रही हैं, you know, let's put it like that. People, logistics, companies, businesses coming to you. So you're the lucky charm then. Wonderful. When you talk about iKargo's cross-border logistics shipments, okay, how do you see technology actually, you know, evolving, addressing the problem? What is that one excellent solution you've given to the market? Let's hear on that.
I would first actually say why technology could never touch this industry. And तो उसका जो मेन कारण है ना वो ये है that there has never been data, there's never been a process of gathering data in this market. Because अगर आपके पास डेटा कलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है तो आप एनालाइज नहीं कर सकते, और आप एनालाइज नहीं कर सकते तो आप सोल्यूशन नहीं दे सकते. Now there's a report that came out which said that the Indian, in India, the logistics to GDP ratio is 14%. That means जो हमारा GDP है ना इंडिया का, उसमें से 14% हम केवल लॉजिस्टिक्स पे खर्च कर देते हैं. जबकि इंटरनेशनल कंट्रीज में अगर आप इफ यू गो ओवरसीज एंड यू सी डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, वहां पे दिस रेशियो है 6%, 5%, 7%. दैट मीन्स इंडिया में हम लोग 7% इनएफिशिएंसी पे चल रहे हैं. जो काम बाहर जितने रुपए में होता है, हम वी आर स्पेंडिंग डबल द अमाउंट, एंड एज अ इकोनॉमी वी आर स्पेंडिंग दैट मच अमाउंट, बट नोबडी नोज द सोल्यूशन कि हम इसको करें कैसे, बिकॉज देयर इज नो डेटा इज बीइंग कैप्चर्ड, कहीं पे कोई कुछ गैदर ही नहीं कर रहा है. So the first step is basically to implement, softwares or products जहां पे एटलीस्ट डेटा कैप्चर होना शुरू हो जाए, कितनी शिपमेंट्स हुई, कितने टाइम में गई, कौन से रूट से गई, कौन सी शिपिंग लाइंस यूज हुई. एटलीस्ट सम सॉर्ट ऑफ डेटा शुड स्टार्ट, which is now starting to happen. One thing that the vision with which we launched iKargos.com was that जैसे कुरियर में होता है ना, that one person puts his courier in front of you and say please इसको US ले जाओ. So we are implementing the same solution in iKargos.com, that you put up your consignment, your container, your 100 kg load or whatever, anything that is bigger than the courier size, and just sit back, relax, accept your quote, and we will deliver it to the country that you want. In the back end, there are tie-ups that needs to be done. There are service providers that need to be brought together on a platform. All that iKargos.com will be doing. And with this itself, there will be huge efficiencies that will bring in the supply chain, which will eventually lower the cost of each importer and exporter. And later on, as an economy, we will also be able to save on the logistics part.
So ये इतना आसान तो नहीं हुआ होगा यार, मतलब it tell us about your challenges.
So आसान नहीं था, आसान अभी भी नहीं है. अच्छा, सबसे मजेदार चैलेंज जो है ना राशि, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द टेक्नोलॉजी, इज दैट nobody takes a lady seriously in logistics world. That's something that I really faced as a, this thing. Initially, when I would go to the truck drivers and, those truck companies, and I would say that we are trying to integrate, then they would just look at me कि ये तो मतलब is she a sales girl या ये कोई उनकी customer service representative है, ये कौन है? They would not give me meetings even if I send my visit. वो थोड़ी conditioning है Indian mindset की. और तो शुरू में मुझे काफी परेशानी हुई, अभी भी हो रही है. whenever we are, I'm entering a new segment. So logistics में क्या होता है ना, logistics itself is not an industry. Logistics is a combination of सब industry. जैसे ट्रकिंग इंडस्ट्री भी उसकी इंडस्ट्री है, वेयरहाउसिंग इंडस्ट्री भी उसकी इंडस्ट्री है, शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री भी लॉजिस्टिक्स की इंडस्ट्री है, एयरलाइन इंडस्ट्री भी लॉजिस्टिक्स की इंडस्ट्री है. इस तरह से कम 10 इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो मिला के एक इंटरनेशनल लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री को बनाते हैं. हर इंडस्ट्री में जाना, उनको समझाना, उनको बोलना वर्क विद मी सो दैट वी आर एबल टू गिव अ सोल्यूशन, ये अपने आप में काफी डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है अभी भी. इट्स वी हैव आई हैव नॉट इट्स नॉट दैट इजी. एंड ऑल्सो अभी तो खाली हम इंडिया में कर रहे हैं. क्रॉस बॉर्डर लॉजिस्टिक्स इज ऑल अबाउट वन पार्ट ऑफ योर जर्नी इज इन सम अदर कंट्री. सेम चीज आपको दूसरे कंट्री में भी करनी है. बट वहां पे मुझे लग रहा है ये जेंडर बायस शायद इतना नहीं होगा. आई डोंट नो, आई लेट्स सी. बट दिस वाज वन थिंग. Second issue has been, I think it would be for all the startups, is to make a team. आपके पास फंडिंग आ गई, अब आपको 25 आदमी या 200 आदमी या 500 आदमी हायर करने. एवरीबडी कम्स विद अ डिफरेंट माइंडसेट. And the companies that I personally believe that the companies that are successful are the companies with some culture in them. अब वो कल्चर पहले तो मुझे अपने दिमाग में खुद सोचना है कि iKargos का कल्चर कैसा होगा. फिर मुझे उस कल्चर को इतने सारे लोगों में पेनिट्रेट कराना है. फिर मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो कल्चर इस तरह से हो दैट व्हेन अ न्यू पर्सन जॉइंस दे आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड. इट्स लाइक एवरी कंपनी इज लाइक अ कंट्री. आप जापान में जाओ, दे आर जापानीज. आप इंडिया में हो, दे आर आप ताज में जाओ, दे हैव देयर ओन ताजनेस. You work with Mahindra, they have their own, they work in a different manner. So with iKargos, creating that culture where people believe that they're solving for the customer and where people work on behalf of the customer, ये मुझे लाने में थोड़ा सा परेशानी हो रही थी. But we are working towards it. It's a continuous journey, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you're learning each day. So tell me something, are there more women in your company involved in the same business?
No, Rashi. So as I told you ना, initially लोग मुझे ही seriously नहीं ले रहे हैं कि इसे कुछ आता होगा. Secondly, hiring women workforce is another problem. We are not getting many resumes from females. Another thing is, even if they join us, then there is a stage that comes in their life which is about when they're getting married or they're having children. उस समय वो छोड़ के चले जाते हैं. Then asking them to come back, it's a project in itself. और एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज जो है ना लॉजिस्टिक्स में राशि, मतलब इवन व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग माय एमबीए, हमारे किसी के भी बैच में दिमाग में किसी के भी नहीं था कि हमें लॉजिस्टिक्स ज्वाइन करनी है. दैट्स नॉट अ फैंसी फील्ड टू ज्वाइन. So all the top colleges, all the top students of those colleges, it's not a glorified field. Everybody wants to be a computer engineer or maybe in fashion or maybe in e-commerce or maybe, media, or there are so many other lucrative, fun industries to be in. Boring logistics में कोई नहीं जाना चाहता. So that's also a problem, that we don't have enough workforce that wants, like from the younger generation, not many people want to join here. From the older generation, even if people are there, they are not tech savvy. उन्हें उस तरह से काम करने हैं जो, those. So logistics is one of the oldest professions. So people are still in those mindset कि हाँ पेपर पे साइन करके डॉक्यूमेंट शिपिंग लाइन पे जाएगा. तो डिजिटाइजेशन को अडॉप्ट करें जल्दी, उस तरह के लोग नहीं हैं. एंड एज यू टॉक्ड अबाउट फीमेल्स, in my company itself, I think out of 150 people, I have just maybe 15 female employees. And I would openly say that I'm biased towards hiring females. If I have a CV, then I will, in my mind, I will give that additional weightage and benefit of doubt, and I would love to hire, but we don't get those many CVs.
I want to tell everyone, she's saying it's a boring industry, but she's equally fashionable. And she's absolutely beautiful. She's fond of saris. एक रेखा वो थी, एक रेखा ये है. Who both of them are fond of saris. And I want you to share with everyone your love for saris. Over to you.
Yes, and okay, so I would say, Rashi, this has come to me from my mother. As a, army officer's wife, she was mandated to wear saris for all the official functions. And because we were posted across the country, from Jammu and Kashmir to Kerala to Siliguri, then to, Jodhpur, and then, Madhya Pradesh, all parts. So one thing that she would make sure is that she would buy a sari for herself. And as a growing up, this thing I would always ape my mother that, oh, when will I come? She goes somewhere and I steal that sari from her, and so I love wearing saris because I think that it brings the feminine energy in me in a very positive way. And secondly, I love to wear handlooms because I think it represents my country. And then when I wear handloom from different parts of the country, I think उससे मुझे एक connection feel होता है कि oh, this is a Asmi sari, this is from Punjab, or this is Madhya Pradesh chapa. So I think it just connects me to my country. And मेरा जो love for country है ना, वो भी I would say it comes from the army connection. So I got an opportunity to, I had a work permit with Australia. And yeah, I was working with Suncorp and they wanted me to settle down in Australia. And I took that opportunity and I went, Rashi. And वहाँ पे Brisbane में, I was based in Brisbane, 6 months हो गए. And then during the 6 months, एक sadness थोड़ी सी ना sink होने लग गई मेरे दिल में over a period of time. And I didn't know why I was feeling so sad. Because, as I told you, I loved the high life and, all the, bing bang and lights and, all the developed country feel. I used to really love it. But slowly, कुछ तो something, कुछ मेरे बुझता जा रहा था. And one day I was just sitting on the Brisbane ka river and just taking some time on this, एक जहाज ऊपर से उड़ के गया. And I thought, मुझे भी इसमें घर जाना है. And the next day I went to office. I called my people in India. I said, no, I want to come back. This is not working out. I'm very happy to transition, give it to somebody else. But that longing, I realized that मुझे क्यों sad लग रहा था, because I felt that I don't belong here and I belong somewhere else. And I came back. फिर मुझे 6 महीने consulting, फिर मुझे लगा कि maybe Australia I didn't like, because for whatever reason. American dream देखते हैं, everybody likes US and there's no way I will not like US. So I got my B1, L1 visa. Sorry. And then again, work permit, I went on a project. I started working with PayPal. And same sadness started sinking in again. And I realized I'm not made for this. I would love to take a flight, come do shopping, do projects, whatever, but I belong to India. And that's when I came back and I said, no, I have to do something here. My roots are here and this is where I belong. This is where I will thrive. वो जो पेड़ होता है ना, वो अपनी मिट्टी में ही बड़ा होता है. तो वो मुझे समझ में आ गया by, after spending 10 years.
And that is the reason you could give a solution to the to our country, because you're trying to fill the market gap. And I think this is amazing. So could you share some insights into the key projects and achievements during your tenure at Nav Bharat Consolidation Private Limited and Keynes Oil and Gas? बहुत बड़े बड़े words में आपने ऐसे काम किया है, and it is, I feel proud being your friend because, I feel I'm connected to the right kind of energy. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the credit I would give to my parents for the names that I have worked with is because uh, my father is, he comes from a farming background. And so we're zamindars of UP, a remote village, which I think got electricity 10 years back. वहां से my father became an army officer. So among the first few officers in the, in that area, not the village itself, but the whole block or a bigger area. तो वहां पे I was born, my sister was born, so he had two daughters and everybody looked down at him कि दो लड़कियां हैं इसकी नवाब की, and what is this, he should try for a son, and this is not right, and so much land he has, what's going to the, that the thought process in the 80s. But my father took it upon himself and he said नहीं, मैं अपनी दोनों बेटियों को पढ़ाऊंगा. And he challenged everybody. He gave us the best possible education, whatever he could give in the cantonments. More than the education, I think the fire that my mother has put in us, that she has always taught us that nothing is impossible. जो भी आप करना चाहते हो बेटा वो आप कर सकते हो. ये एक चीज उन्होंने हमें बड़े अच्छे से सिखाई. And the importance of education, because she said that whenever we used to go to the village, obviously वहाँ पे life थोड़ी सी different होती है of a villager, and when we used to come back to the army life, वो जो contrast difference है वो बहुत ही clear था. And my parents would always say that we have been able to take this leap only because of education. So education was very, very important for us. And because of that, I was focused and ensured that my MBA gets done. And during my MBA also, I was extremely focused कि मुझे best placement होनी चाहिए. And God was kind. I got placed with Deloitte. From Deloitte, I moved to Pricewaterhouse. From Pricewaterhouse, I moved to Genpact. In Genpact, in 5 years' time, I got projects, got time to do projects with US, with Australia, with the giants in the, MNCs. And from there, I then moved to Kane. And Kane, I did a small stint when Prashant called me for this e-commerce opportunity. And then I moved to Navbharat. So Navbharat mein, the turning point was solving for Club Factory. I would say that is something which is like a feather that I wear. And, that gave me a confidence कि हम इस problem में कुछ कर सकते हैं. The issues that people are facing in cross-border logistics. So concepts like drop shipping or concepts like, cross-docking, कुछ नए theoretical concepts हैं जो लोग किताबों में पढ़ा करते थे. So, I basically ensured कि हम इसको कैसे, how we are able to put these concepts in working. And I think that was the biggest challenge. That was the biggest achievement. जब मैंने एक दिन सुबह उठ के मैंने न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा और मैंने देखा Club Factory becomes number 3 in India. And that was the day I thought that we have done it for these people. And I thought अगर हम इनके लिए कर सकते हैं तो same solution को if we can put it in a product, then maybe we can do it for everyone. So yeah, I think that's an achievement that I consider.
Okay. So how do you see iKargos.com contribute to the broader goals of sustainability and environmental consciousness in the logistics transportation industry?
I think being conscious towards environment is something that we all have to, it's not a choice anymore, we have, whatever we are doing, we have to ensure that ye uska ek inbuilt part hai, whether we are a student or we are, professionals, or even if we are homemakers, then ensuring that, हमारे घर से जो कचरा निकल रहा है, that's biodegraded in a proper manner. So being conscious towards environment is something जो कि हमें, if we are not doing it, then we'll be in trouble by 2040. So many research papers are coming out, and so many people are doing wonderful work towards it. And I think this has to be focus of all organizations. And at iKargos.com also, we are very, very conscious, and to the extent possible, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम, this is heart of our thought process when we are designing this solution. So one thing that we do inside the organization is that we are a paperless company. Nothing gets printed, nothing gets sent in a paper. We don't have printers, we don't have, we don't get those rims. आपको हमारे किसी भी ऑफिस में across the country, 17 locations, you will not get anything, where, papers are getting printed. Unlike other companies in this domain, जहां पे अभी भी हर चीज लॉजिस्टिक्स इज as I told you is a industry जो कि बहुत पुराने तरीके से चल रही है, तो वो माइंडसेट में लोगों के चेंज लाना, वो उस तरह की टेक्नोलॉजी बनाना कि पेपर्स हमें नहीं चाहिए हो, इसमें मेरा काफी इनिशियली एफर्ट गया. सो दिस इज from the perspective that how as employees we are ensuring that we are reducing our carbon footprint. As an organization, when I'm saying, Rashi, that 14% inefficiencies hain, our ratio is 14% and the developed nations it is 7%. अगर हम वो एफिशिएंसी लेकर आ पाएंगे इंडियन लॉजिस्टिक्स के अंदर भी, तो आप समझो कितना फ्यूल बचेगा. जो शिप्स जिस कार्गो को जाने में 15 दिन लग रहे हैं, अगर उसको 1 हफ्ता लगता है, तो आप 5 दिन का फ्यूल बचाओगे, आप 5 दिन का टाइम बचाओगे, आप 5 दिन का एफर्ट बचाओगे. सो आई वुड से इफ द एफिशिएंसी कम्स इन, जिस तरह से नरेंद्र मोदी का विजन है दैट अच्छा, द गवर्नमेंट इज आल्सो मैंडेटिंग दैट ब्रिंग दिस परसेंटेज डाउन टू 7%. They have introduced so many new schemes like Bharat Mala, Gati Shakti. They're infusing so much maritime vision, और इतना पैसा गवर्नमेंट डाल रही है to ensure that we are able to match the developed nations as far as this is concerned. And if we are able to contribute towards it, the efficiency that will come will obviously be contributing towards this goal. Then जैसे कि हम पेपरलेस हैं, we are promoting the same thing among the customers also, that everything is available in the digital format, nothing needs to be printed, nothing needs to be sent on paper. And one most important thing that you do on iKargos is that when you are booking your shipment, you also get to see your carbon footprint. So you can take decisions accordingly. If you want to use your carbon credits, we also facilitate that. So I think we are, we are taking whatever measures we can in our capacity to ensure that sustainability is at center of our thought process.
So tell me something, how easy it is. Like we can just go to your website and we can just book the parcel there. Is it like that?
Yes, it's that easy. So how you can go to a Make My Trip and book your flight tickets from Delhi to Chennai, from Delhi to US. Similarly, you can go on iKargos.com and you can book your cargo from Delhi to US. It's that simple. But iKargos is, Rashi, we are not really solving this. So this is just half of the product. I'll just take 2 minutes on this to explain कि iKargos का exactly हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. Travel industry में अगर आप I mean you're fairly young, you would not remember 1960s 1965 आपको नहीं पता होगा, but if you ask your grandparents or parents, उस जमाने में अगर फ्लाइट टिकट निकालनी थी तो क्या होता था कि that some gentleman would go or a lady would go to a physical agent, और उन फिजिकल एजेंट को बोलेंगे कि यार हमको एक टिकट दे दो. वो फिजिकल एजेंट 3 और एयरलाइंस को फोन करके आपको 3 ऑप्शंस देंगे. Then if you don't like those options, maybe you'll go to second agent and maximum you'll go to 1 more agent. So maximum a person could go to 3 agents. And ये जो 3 एजेंट है, ये भी मैक्सिमम पीछे जो फोन उठा के जब करते थे 4 एयरलाइन से रेट्स ले सकते थे. कार्गो इंडस्ट्री 60 साल के बाद भी आज 1960s में फंसी हुई है. अगर आज आपको कोई कार्गो यहाँ से यूएस भेजना है तो आप एजेंट को फोन करोगे फिजिकल, उसको पूछोगे कि मुझे भेजना है, तो आप एक एजेंट को पूछोगे, वो आपको 3 शिपिंग लाइन का ऑप्शन देगा. आप दूसरे एजेंट को पूछोगे, तीसरे एजेंट को पूछोगे. जायंट्स लाइक द मल्टीनेशनल्स आर आल्सो यूजिंग दिस अप्रोच. इंडिया में शिपिंग लाइंस कितनी काम करती है राशि? 50. At a minimum there are 50 shipping lines. Maximum options that an importer will get is through 3 agents, 9, 10, 12. What happens to the remaining shipping lines? उनपे तो कोई जा ही नहीं रहा, इसीलिए तो इनएफिशिएंसी है. सो आई ओके नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड इन द एयरलाइन इंडस्ट्री कि ये धीरे धीरे जो छोटे छोटे एजेंट्स थे जो फिजिकल दुकान लगा के बैठे थे, they transformed into Make My Trips, Expedias and Yatras. What enabled them to become these digital platforms from those shops? There is a technology in the back end called global distribution system. तो पीछे क्या एक इंजन है जो सारी एयरलाइन से रेट्स लेता है और इसके पास सारा रेट्स है. नाउ दिस इंजन, इस इंजन के ऊपर आप यू कैन हैव द यात्रा और मेक माई ट्रिप. सो मेक माई ट्रिप इज a marketing company basically that just takes rates from this global distribution system. Make My Trip does not really go to a Indigo, Air India, SpiceJet, and it does not really go to 10 different airlines से मुझे rate दे दो, ऐसा नहीं है. It takes rates from the global distribution system. Same thing is happening in the hotel industry. There is one system that takes rates from all the hotels, and then your Agoda will give you rates upfront. कार्गो इंडस्ट्री में ये बीच का इंजन मिसिंग है, ग्लोबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम. सो iKargos is basically building that global distribution system, and we will enable the छोटा छोटा जो फ्रेट एजेंट्स और क्लियरेंस एजेंट्स जो छोटे छोटे दुकान लेके बैठे हैं ना, we will enable them to become the Make My Trips and Yatras of the cargo industry. Yeah. So,
that's a lot of work and lot of solutions. But मैं अभी एक चीज सोच रही थी, कोई भी थोड़ा सा सीनियर सिटीजन होगा या हमारे पेरेंट्स होंगे, उनके मुंह पे एक इंस्टेंट नाम आता है, ये कोरियर करना है.
right.
Logistics is something which takes a minute to understand to many people. Youngsters के साथ ठीक है, समझ में आता है. Even people like when I first met you, you told me it took me a minute to understand कि ये करते क्या है, But then slowly when I understood that you're doing that kind of work, तो how do you deal with that? मतलब आप तो ये सुनते होगे ना, कोरियर का काम करते हैं.
right, so many times. So इंडिया में अच्छा एक तो ये है ना कि we are only familiar with brands or services that impact us. So as individuals जो B2C impact करते हैं जो products और services, हमें उनका ही पता होता है. So courier is an industry that impacts us on individual level, but cargo is an industry that impacts the B2B, the business houses. And the size of cargo industry in India is about $400 billion. तो इतनी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री है. दैट्स द बैकबोन, राइट. आज की डेट में देखो, पल्सेस ग्रो कहीं हो रहे हैं, खा कोई रहा है, कपड़े कहीं बन रहे हैं, बिक कहीं रहे हैं, कॉस्मेटिक्स कहीं बन रहे हैं, कंज्यूम कहीं और हो रहे हैं, फैशन कहीं डेवलप हो रहा है, हम लोग पहन रहे हैं. सो वी हैव बिकम वर्ल्ड हैज जस्ट श्रंक थैंक्स टू द लॉजिस्टिक्स. अब तो ऐसा भी हो गया दैट यू कैन ऑर्डर स्टफ फ्रॉम Amazon US to India. So all this in the back end. So Amazon, I always say in my conversations, Amazon is not an e-commerce company, it's a logistics company. So yes, logistics is basically the backbone of the world today. And B2C end consumers को समझाना थोड़ा difficult होता है what we do, because it's difficult to relate. But business customers अगर हैं तो then they understand, and they also understand the issues. वो तो खुद ही फेस कर रहे हैं. एक और चैलेंज जो है ना लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री में, राशि, वो ये है दैट जब गुड्स मूव होते हैं इंडिया से, अगर आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया या यूएस कहीं अगर आपको लेके जाना है, क्रॉस बॉर्डर की बात इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि ये बिजनेस ही क्रॉस बॉर्डर इन नेचर है. अगर आपको गुड्स लेकर जाने हैं तो द नंबर ऑफ पीपल दैट आर इन्वॉल्व इन द शिपमेंट इज हिलेरियस. इंपोर्टर, एक्सपोर्टर, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, बैंक, ट्रांसपोर्टर, वेयरहाउस कंपनी, कस्टम हाउस एजेंट, फ्रेट एजेंट, शिपिंग लाइन, and few more. Almost 18 to 22 लोग एक शिपमेंट के अंदर बात करते हैं एक दूसरे से. और अच्छा एक और चीज क्या है कि सब लोग खाली इंपोर्टर या एक्सपोर्टर से ही बात करते हैं, because there is no technology that enables communication between them. ट्रांसपोर्टर तो कस्टम हाउस एजेंट को नहीं बता पाता कि मेरा सामान बी रेडी, आई एम कमिंग विद द ट्रक. वो इंपोर्टर को बताएगा कि 2 घंटे में ट्रक पहुंचने वाला है. इंपोर्टर फिर सीएचओ को बताएगा रेडी रहना कस्टम क्लियरेंस के लिए। एंड इसके वजह से भी द सप्लाई चेन इज फ्रैगमेंटेड, ब्रोकन, पीपल वर्क इन silos, and hence the inefficiencies. Everything comes down to the inefficiency only of 14%.
Yeah, and people will just say, मेरा courier खो दिया. They
हाँ,
will say, like,
ट्रांसपेरेंसी।
मतलब अच्छा, मैं आप तो बड़े लेवल की बात कर रहे हो, मैं तो एक ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी की छोटी सी बात कर रही हूँ। कोई बड़ी कंपनी भी होगी, वो B2B होगी, वो भी कह देंगे भाई संभाल के ले जाना, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं, खो तो नहीं जाएगा। दीज आर कॉमन क्वेश्चंस व्हिच विल जस्ट कम, एंड यू एज अ कंपनी आई एम श्योर वुड बी फीलिंग कि यार मतलब क्या बातें कर रहे हैं ये, बिकॉज दैट्स योर वर्क. सो दिस इज आई हैड नो आइडिया दैट इतने
I
लोग
can
इन्वॉल्व होंगे.
take names of some clients. Example, जैसे Nykaa है, we do imports for Nykaa in India. We do imports for Decathlon in India. We help exports for Dawat Rice. Then Tata Motors. Then Adani, we do some work for them. Then DHL Express, DHL Logistics. So these are the people. अब आप सोचो ना, Decathlon का एक स्टोर में कुछ सामान की शॉर्टेज है और उन्होंने एक ट्रक लोड बोला हुआ है और वो फंसा हुआ है, क्लियरेंस में पहुंच ही नहीं रहा है, एंड शेल्व्स खाली पड़े हुए हैं. सो दैट इज द इम्पैक्ट दैट दे हैव. या
So, what is your one message to all communities? I had no idea before the podcast that I will be enjoying this podcast, honestly. मुझे लग रहा था ये सब business बोलेगी, but you made it really interesting. So, what is your one message to everyone?
my message to the youngsters, I mean, is because I think younger generation is the one that is shaping the country today. And मुझे उनसे एक ही बात कहनी है कि believe in the Indian story. Believe that India is the one that's going to lead the world in coming future, but वो खुद से नहीं होगा. We all have to contribute. So many, like, I know you have an option to go and settle outside, but you haven't. you know there are so many people that are such bright minds, and if they all contribute towards the vision of creating India, what the potential it has, I think we will all arrive. And then we will not crib के सड़क पे खड्डे हैं, लाइट नहीं आती है, लड़कियों को लोग छेड़ते हैं. I think we all have to work towards it. So my message is कि यहाँ पे रहो यार, यहाँ पे काम करो.
So Rekha Atri, the real Deshbhakt, I think she is the real Deshbhakt who left everything and she gave a solution to the country. So what has been your success mantra? Over to you.
मुझे लगता है राशि, हर एक किसी के लिए ना सक्सेस अलग अलग चीज होती है. तो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट मुझे लगा मेरे लिए कि मैं पहले ये आइडेंटिफाई करूं कि मेरे लिए सक्सेस का क्या मीनिंग है. And I can only talk about myself. So I had a bad phase in my life, growing up as an army officer's daughter, having that flashy career. On the other side, I got married at a very young age, at about 22 years of age, and then I was in the marriage for about 12 years. So personal level pe, I was in a very gloomy space for about 8 years. पहले 2 साल तो मुझे समझ नहीं आया. वो इंडियन लड़कियां ना अपने उसमें रहती है कि मेरा लहंगा, मेरे कपड़े, मेरी ज्वेलरी. तो आई वाज इन माय ओन जोन. But slowly it clicked and I understood कि कुछ ठीक नहीं है. There are something is not right. I'll not go into the details. Then when I tried to convey it to my parents, मुझे 7-8 साल लगे उनका सपोर्ट लेने में. उससे भी ज्यादा सब टाइम लगा मुझे अपने पेरेंट्स का सपोर्ट लेने में. बट व्हेन आई इवेंचुअली व्हेन आई टुक द डिसीजन एंड आई रीच्ड, तो मैंने सोचा कि मेरे लिए सक्सेस क्या है, व्हाट इज दैट विल मीन सक्सेस टू मी. बिकॉज जिस सिचुएशन में थी वहां पर रेखा अत्री कुड हैव जस्ट crumbled and evaporated. So I thought that I want to be known as someone who's fought through the challenges and give a message to people कि अगर आप एक गलत स्पेस में हो तो आप वहां से निकलो, और आपकी मदद कोई नहीं करेगा, आप खुद ही करोगे. Sometimes not even your parents, nobody. You have to help yourself. So for me, success is, I will think that I have arrived the day when the village that I come from and maybe the nearing villages, वहां पे parents अगर उनकी daughters घर छोड़ के वापस आना चाहेंगी तो वो उन्हें सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे. They will say, oh, Rekha could come, yeah, you can also come. So that is success for me. उससे मैं भी बहुत दूर हूँ. I'm just somebody, nobody maybe. But I want to work towards creating my position and influence people, if not a bigger this thing, but at least the place from the roots that I come from. जब मेरे जैसे और लोग वापस आना चाहेंगे अपने घर तो उन्हें रेजिस्टेंस नहीं मिलना चाहिए. And उन्हें they should get it should even be a question, why is this thought process लड़की ने अपना घर छोड़ दिया अब ये अपना घर ही नहीं है. What sort of conditioning is that? How much more years we will take, how much more hard women have to work to say that वो घर भी मेरा था, ये घर भी मेरा है, या मैं जहां रहूं वही मेरा घर होता है. What is it कि ये फादर का घर है, ये हस्बैंड का घर है, हमारा घर कहाँ है? So yeah. And once you identify what is success for you, then you have to work towards it every day. Chota steps. Baby steps so that we enjoy the day also. So baby steps towards the success and obviously maintain the flexibility. Dunya to roz change ho rahi hai. So we cannot be stubborn about it. If there are artificial intelligence aa raha hai, adopt kar lete hain. Agar, augmented reality aa rahi hai, adopt kar lete hain. पीछे नहीं रह सकते. So identify success, work towards it, and maintain flexibility.
दोबारा बोलो ये.
So the three things is, identify what success means to you, work towards it on a daily basis, and then maintain flexibility. Yeah.
She's put across a very, very beautiful and a valid point. कि पेरेंट्स को समझाना बड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है, अंडरस्टूड. बट अगर आप सही हो और आप क्लियर हो तो आई थिंक यू कैन जस्ट अचीव एनीथिंग इन योर लाइफ, एंड दैट इज अ ग्रेट पॉइंट टू बी टेकन फ्रॉम दिस conversation that you just put across. Okay, Rekha, tell me something. You are on the go all the time. You are right now in Chennai, and then you're traveling. You said 17 offices, right? All over India?
In India, and then one in Dubai.
One in Dubai. So tell me something, who looks after your kids?
Yeah, so अच्छा ये भी बहुत अच्छी एक interesting बात है राशि. When I was during my consulting days, I had women around me talking, अरे बच्चा हो जाएगा तो career will come to a stop. It does also for a lot of people. I'm not underplaying that aspect. And a lot of women in India are now having to choose between career or children. They are forced to choose. When I decided to take this decision and move out of this thing with my husband, I wanted that nurturing instinct. मुझे लगा कि मुझे उस instinct को, nurturing instinct को अब मौका देने का कभी चांस ही नहीं मिलेगा. बिकॉज अब मैं डिवोर्स हो रही हूँ, फिर कब मैं शादी करूंगी, कब मेरा बच्चा होगा. आई एम ऑलरेडी टचिंग 40. व्हाट टू डू? So then I discussed with my doctor and I decided to have Agastya through IVF. So I'm a single mother and I've had Agastya through IVF. And the moment that boy has come into my life, he has become my rock, Rashi. So whosoever I meet, I say that kids are not roadblocks in the careers, they are enablers in our life. He has brought so much peace and self-worth. I think वो जो 10-12 साल में मेरी self-worth deplete हो गई थी ना, वो सब reinstate हो गई with Agastya coming in. To your question, दो चीजें हैं. एक तो from the day Agastya has come in, I have always treated him like a individual in my life and not like a responsibility on me. तो पहले दिन से मैं उसके साथ ये बात करती हूँ कि अगस्त्या कल तो मेरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मीटिंग है. सो थर्ड डे after my C-section, I had to present to Gail, who was my first investor. And I did that. And we also got the funding. So iKargos got valued at 56 crores in 21, wherein we were only at 3 crores revenue. And I had just delivered like 3 days back. So, I don't think so anything stops. But, while I would say there was a period when my parents did not believe in what I was doing, उनको लगा कि हमने ज़्यादा पढ़ा दिया है, she doesn't want to settle down and take the household responsibilities. We have to maybe put her in place. थोड़ा सा वो resistance था. But after they have understood, now they are standing with me like my rock. So my son is looked after by my sister, her husband, her son, my mother, my father, my brother. So I have these amazing men around me, my father, my brother, my brother-in-law, who are supporting me. See, I'm not talking about my mother and sister because it is given. The kind of bond that we share with them, it is given that they will be with me. But all the other three people, my brother left his job. He was working with Tata AIG. He left his job to support me through my journey, and he now looks after, Dubai operations. My brother-in-law has helped me build the entire tech. So my father ensures that he is the father figure for my son also. The masculine energy that my son needs to feel my father provides that. So now as a unit, I think we are all looking after him. And, the child never really feels कि मेरी माँ मेरे पास नहीं है, वो उसकी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. उसको सिर्फ ये चाहिए that he should be raised in a loving environment. Initially थोड़ा सा मुझे mother guilt हुआ था. When I was 2-3 months, August, I was 2-3 months old, and I had started working when he was just 5 days old. Actually 3, because that's when my presentation was there. So my mother said, "Beta, this is a new concept where over-parenting has come into picture. Otherwise, when you were growing up, I didn't even see you till about 5 years of age. Your grandmother was raising you. I would just go and feed and see because we had so much responsibility. Your father was an army officer. I had to look after the house. Nobody had the time to do this so much over-parenting for kids, and you have grown up all right. So please, you also focus on your career. He is there. We are all there to love him. There should not be a sense of insecurity. That is what we as a family will take care. But apart from that, if I am a happy, successful mother, I think that will be a better role model for him, and he will be more proud of me then. So I think sabka support hai basically. Yeah.
And I think she's very humble, she's very down to earth, and she's a beautiful soul and a very good friend of mine. And we wish her all the very best.
So iKargos.com has been conceptualized with the vision of digitizing imports and exports for everybody.
What a remarkable journey of Rekha Atri, the trailblazer in the world of logistics technology. Rekha, आपका बहुत बहुत thanks है कि आप आए.
Thank you so much, Rashi. It has been wonderful talking to you.